Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Anshu Sharma. I will take the lecture of financial management. I have taken lectures of financial management about the introduction. I have covered the introductory part. After that, I have covered some portion of capital budgeting as well. Let's summarize the points which we have discussed in last lectures. These are the features. We have discussed about the features of capital budgeting decision. As you know very well, capital budgeting decision means long-term decisions which organization has taken during the course of running the organization. So these are the features: long-term effect, substantial commitments, irreversible decision, and affect the capacity and strength. So these are the features we have discussed a lot about it. So I think there is no need to discuss again. After that, we have discussed problem and difficulties in capital budgeting decision. These were future uncertainty, time element, and measurement problem. After that, we discussed the types of capital budgeting decisions. There are two types of capital budgeting decisions on the basis of firm existence. That means if there is a new firm, then the capital budgeting decisions are different. New firm means if you are planning to install a new type of the project or you are planning to start a business, then different type of capital budgeting decision we have taken. We have discussed a lot about it. And second type means our organization is running and after some time you have to take some decisions. Like you started your organization before 20 years and after 20 years, now organization requires some capital budgeting decision. It may be about the expansion, it may be about the replacement and modernization, and it may be about the diversification as well. So we have discussed a lot. Now, from the point of view of decision situation, in this slide we discussed there are two types of decisions: mutually exclusive and acceptable criteria. In mutually exclusive decisions, we discussed that if there are two options and you have to choose only one, then it means it's a mutually exclusive decision. It means selection of one alternative is rejection of other alternative. It means you can take example of head and tail. If you are tossing a coin, then you have to choose one option, head or tail. So if you are choosing the option of head, it means you are rejecting the proposal of tail. Same time, you have two options. You have to choose A or you have to choose B. So if you are choosing option A, it means you are rejecting option B. These types of decisions are called mutually exclusive decisions. Another type of decisions are accept get criteria. In these type of decisions, we have discussed that if an organization has a number of options, then he has to select or reject. He has to accept or reject on the basis of some ground or on the basis of some parameters. For example, an organization has to choose a machinery which generates the cash flow of more than 5 lakh rupees per annum, and the cost of the machinery should not be more than rupees 10 lakh. Life of the machinery should be 10 years. So this is a criteria of acceptance to purchase. Now we go to the market, we take different options. We see number of options. and we have to select the machinery which satisfy all three requirements. Requirement number one, the cost of the machinery should not be exceed rupees 10 lakh. The life of the machinery should be 20 years. Number three, the cash flow generated by the machinery should not be less than rupees 5 lakh per year. So this is the accept reject criteria. So if we see number of options, suppose we are having 20 machinery and 12 are satisfying the requirement of the organization, then it means we can accept 12 machineries and we have to get 8 machineries because they are not satisfying the requirement of the organization. So this is the accept reject criteria. We will discuss a lot about it. So let's move to another slide. After that, we have discussed capital budgeting decisions, assumption and procedure. Now, this is a new slide for today's lecture. We have discussed a lot about the previous slides, but in today's lecture, we have to discuss this slide. What type of assumptions we have to take and when we have to take capital budgeting decision? Number one is certainty with respect to cost and profit. Assumption number one. Assumption number two, profit motive. And assumption number three, no capital rationing. That means whenever we have to take capital budgeting decisions, we have to make some assumption because you know whenever we have to take a decision, we have to take some assumptions. So assumption number one, certainty with respect to cost and benefit. It means we have to assume that if you are planning for the organization, that we are very much assured about the expectation we are having in our mind. It means, for example, I have to start a business, I have to start an organization for which I need rupees 20 lakh. It is expectation that I will generate the cash flow after tax of around 10 lakh every year. And the expenses will be around 5 lakh. It means I will generate the cash flow. It means I will generate the profit of rupees, or you can say revenue minus expense. The resultant figure which we generate will be rupees 5 lakh. If we are generating rupees 5 lakh every year, it will be short. It means it should be certain that if we are assuming that the revenue will be rupees 10 lakh and expenses will be rupees 5 lakh, it should be 10 lakh, it should be 5 lakh. There should not be difference in the amount of revenue and the amount of expenses. Same time, if we are making the assumption that to start this business, we need rupees 20 lakh, then it should be rupees 20 lakh. That means, if we are making some assumption, it should be certain. There should not be fluctuation in the amount. So, number one, certainty. Number two, profit motive. Assumption number two says, if we are taking or we are implementing any capital budgeting decision, we have to be profit motive. As you know very well, if you are start any organization, any business unit, we have to be profit motive because business is a activity which is started by anyone with a view to earn a profit, with a legal objective. So it should be very much clear that if you are taking any capital budgeting decision, then profit of organization will increase because of taking this business decision or capital investing decision. So there is no motive except the motive of profit. So you can say, if you are taking a decision and organization is not earning a profit because of taking a particular decision, it means there is no need to take this type of decision. Number 3, no capital rationing. No capital rationing means when we take capital investing decision, as we have discussed, it needs substantial commitment. It needs substantial commitments. So it requires a lot of capital as well, because it requires substantial commitment. So it means it requires a huge amount of cash, huge amount of capital. So there should not be capital raising. It means if you want to start a capital investing, if you want to start any project, or if you want to take any capital investing decision, then capital should not be a hurdle for you. It means organization should have sufficient capital so that you may take this decision. There should be no capital raising. It means capital should not be in the scarcity. It should be available for all the decisions. So these were the assumptions which we have to take in our mind whenever we have to take financial decisions. Now, let's move to another part. Now, let's discuss about the capital busting techniques. Capital busting technique means by which we have to purchase the machinery, by which we have to use, by which we have to take different types of decisions. For example, an organization wants to purchase a machinery, and the organization has around 5 to 10 options. He has to select only one. Then how can the organization select optimum machinery? There are different techniques. With the help of these techniques, organization can find out best one. Number 1 is the accounting rate of return. Number 2 is the payback period. Number 3 is the discounted payback period. Number 4, net present value. Number 5, profitability index. And number 6 is the internal rate of return. So these are the capital busting techniques which we have to use whenever we have to purchase a machinery for the organization. Now, these techniques actually can be divided on this basis. Number 1, traditional or non-discounted, and second one is the modern or discounted technique. So traditional techniques are the techniques in which we are not using time value of money simply. The first technique which we use is the accounting rate of return. So what is the meaning of accounting rate of return? Accounting rate of return may be defined as the annualized net income earned on the average fund invested in a project. It means, suppose you are investing rupees 1 crore to start a project, and after 2 to 3 years, you want to calculate how much return you are getting by continuing this project. Now, first of all, you have to check the amount of profit. Suppose amount of profit is rupees 12 lakh or 20 lakh. Suppose the amount of profit is rupees 20 lakh. Now what will be the rate of return? It will be average profit after tax into 100 divided by average investment. So if average profit is rupees 20 lakh, you have to divide by rupees 1 crore into 100. It will be around 20%. So you can say if by investing rupees 1 crore, organization is giving you the return of rupees 20 lakh per year, then you can say the average rate of return of the project is around 20%. So this is the traditional method. Another one is the payback period. Payback period means the length of the time required to cover the initial cost of the project. Second method is the payback period. So what is the meaning of the payback period? Payback period means the time or the duration or the length of the period which we require to recover the amount invested by the organization. This is the simply payback period. For example, an organization started a business with capital of rupees 1 crore. That is earning rupees 20 lakh per annum. If the organization is getting 20 lakh per annum, then it will require 5 years to recover the cost of project. Because you invested rupees 1 crore and if you are earning 20 lakh rupees per annum, it means you will recover the amount in 5 years. So you can say the accounting rate of return of the project was 20% and payback period of the project is 5 years. Now, for example, you have different options. Now I'm talking about the use of these methods whenever we have to purchase a machine. Now, suppose an organization wants to purchase a machine. Now, first of all, the organization wants to check ARR of the machine. Or you can say, suppose you are a financial investor and there are number of options you have. Suppose you can purchase number of organization. Or you have to invest some amount in this type of organization. Then what you have to check? Number one, accounting rate of return. Suppose you have 5 projects before you. Project number 1 is giving you the return of 20%. Project number 2 is giving you the return of 22%, with 24, with 26, and 28. 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So these are 5 projects. Now, if you have to select the project on the basis of accounting rate of return, simply you have to select last one because accounting rate of return of the project is higher in last project in comparison to all other projects. So we have to choose on the basis of higher accounting rate of return. So you can say if project is having higher rate of return, higher rate of accounting rate of return, then you have to select this particular project. Second one is the payback period. As we have discussed, this is the length of time. Now, project 1, which was giving the return of 20%, was requiring 5 years to recover the cost of project. Now, suppose you have 3 to 4 different options before you. Project number 1 is having the payback period of 5 years. Project number 2 is having payback period of 4.5 years. Project number 3 is having 4 years. Project 4 is having 3.5 and project 5 is having 3 years. So you have 5 different plans, 5 different projects. In which number 1 project having payback period of 5 years, second is having 4.5, third is having 4 years, fourth is having 3.5 and fifth one is having 3 years. So if you are having these options, then you have to select last one because last one is having payback period of 3 years and it is the least period. So whenever we have to select the plant on the basis of payback period, we have to check the land, and if a project is having least land, then it will be highly attractive plant for us. I think it's clear to all of you. Now, let's move to another type of technique. You can say these are the modernized technique or discounted techniques. Discounted simply means we are using the time value of money. So there are 4 techniques in which we use time value of money. First one is the discounted payback period. Discounted payback period and payback period are almost similar. As I discussed in last slide, payback period means the length of project to recover the initial cost of the project. We invested 1 crore and project was giving me 20 lakh. It means I had to recover. I had to require 5 years to recover the amount of investment of the organization. So same method follows in discounted payback period. But in payback period, we are not implementing the concept of time value of money. For example, if organization is earning a profit of rupees 20 lakh, 20 lakh, 20 lakh, 20 lakh, 20 lakh, we are adding 5 times and we can say the amount of rupees 1 crore will be recovered in 5 years. But in discounted payback period, we don't apply this technique in this way. But we have to convert profit of every year in present value. For example, profit of this 20 lakh, we can say cash flow. Cash flow of first year will be multiplied by present value factor. Now we will get the present value of rupees 20 lakh. Right? First year. After that, second year. After that, third, fourth, fifth. So first of all, we have to convert all cash flows in present value. Then we have to add all the amount. Now, suppose after adjusting time value of money, we have different options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm talking about the application part. I have explained what is the method of calculation. This is technique. Simply we converted the cash flow in present value, we sum up all the present value, and after that we have to check that in which duration we recover the amount invested in initial year. For example, if we are earning 20 lakh rupees per annum by investing rupees 1 crore, then payback period was rupees. Payback period was 5 years. But if we are calculate discounted payback period for the same example, then the discounted payback period will not be 5 years. It should be exceed 6 or 7 years. So when we convert cash flow in present value, then the duration of recovering the amount, or you can say duration of discounted period, normally increases. Next one is NPV, net present value. The NPV of an investment proposal may be defined as sum of the present value of cash inflows less the sum of cash outflow. As I discussed in last example, whenever we have to apply discounted payback period method, simply we have to check which project is having lesser discounted payback period. For example, I have 4 options. Option number 1 is having discounted payback period of 6 years. Option number 2 is having discounted payback period of 6.5 years. Option number 3 is having 7 years. And option number 4 is having 7.5 years. Then option number 1 which will be chosen by me because discounted payback period of project A is lesser and we have to select on the length of the discounted period. If length of discounted payback period is minimum, then we have to opt this project first. Now let's discuss about the NPV. NPV, as I discussed, NPV means simply we have to sum up all the cash inflows after incorporating the time value money yourself. Simply, we have to convert present value. Simply, if we are generating some cash flow, first of all, we have to convert into present value. And after that, we have to sum up all the present value. After that, we have to deduct the amount of cash outflow. Cash outflow means the amount which is invested by the organization to initiate the project. You can say, if I purchase a machinery and cash flow generated by machinery is 20 lakh, and the cost of machinery is 50 lakh, and the life of the machine is 5 years. So what will be the method to calculate the NPV? Simply, I am purchasing the machinery at 50 lakh, it will be cash outflow. I am generating the cash inflow of this 20 lakh. The first step which I have to take or which I have to do. Number 1, I have to convert all cash inflows into present value. Then I have to sum up all the present values, all the cash inflows, and I have to deduct the amount invested by me at the initial stage. It will be minus 50. So, if the resultant figure is called NPV. If this resultant figure is positive, then project may be accepted. But if any case the resultant figure is negative, then we can't take this type of the decision. You can say whenever we have to use NPV technique. So you can say whenever we have to use NPV technique, then we have to see that NPV is positive or negative. If NPV of the project is positive, then we may select. And if NPV is negative, then we can't select. Now, again, come on the application part. Suppose an organization is having four options. And NPV, and he has to select the machinery on the basis of NPV. Then, what will be the methodology? First of all, firm has to check the NPV of number of options. Suppose firm is having four options. Suppose machinery 1 is generating NPV of 4 lakh. Machinery number 2 is generating NPV of rupees 4.5 lakh. Machinery number 3 is generating NPV of rupees 5 lakh. And machinery number 4 is generating NPV of rupees 6 lakh. In that case, we will choose last one because first of all, we have to check NPV is negative or positive. And after that, we have to check if there are number of options in front of us, then we will select the best machinery, and the best machinery will be the machinery where we are getting maximum NPV. So on the basis of NPV technique, we may say machinery 4 is best machinery because it is generating highest NPV. Next, profitability index. Profitability index can say as a benefit or rupee invested in a proposal, and also known as benefit cost ratio. The formula of calculating PI is total PV, total present value of cash inflow, divided by total present value of cash out. So, modus operandi almost same. It means initiation, or you can say the basic calculation is same as we applied in NPV. Suppose we have to check PI, profitability index. So what we have to do? I'm taking same example. Suppose a machinery requires initial investment of rupees 50 lakh. It requires rupees 50 lakh as an initial investment. It is generating rupees 20 lakh cash inflow every year. And the life of the machine is 5. Then what you have to do? First of all, you have to convert all cash inflows into present value by multiplying present value factor. So simply multiplying present value factor with cash inflow and convert cash inflows into present value. The present value of first year cash inflow, present value of cash inflow of second year, present value of cash inflow of third year, present value of cash inflow of fourth year, present value of cash inflow of fifth year. Now you have present value of all cash inflows. Now sum of all cash inflows, and right after that you have to write down the amount in denominator. In denominator you have to write down the amount of cash outflow. Cash outflow, as you know, the cost of the project which is borne, or you can say which will be incurred by the entrepreneur to purchase the machinery. So, number one, if we come on the application part, what we have to see? Number one, profitability index of machinery should be more than 1. If profitability index of machinery is less than 1, then we will never purchase a machine. It means if it comes 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, it means machinery can't be purchased. And second thing, if we are having 3 to 4 options, then in that case we have to choose the best one. And on the basis of these methods, the best one will be the machine which is having maximum profitability index. Now, for example, there are 4 machines. One is having PI of 1.2, second is having PI of 1.4, third is having PI of 1.6, and fourth one is having PI of 1.8. Then, in that case, we will choose machinery which is having PI of 1.8. So I think it should be very much clear to all of you. Now, come on the last technique and most important technique. It is called internal rate of return. The internal rate of a proposal is defined as a discount rate which produces a 0 NPV. It means the IRR is the discount rate which will equate the present value of cash inflow to the present value of cash out. You can say it is a rate where NPV is 0. Or you can say it is a rate where cash inflow and cash outflow are same. So whenever we have to find out this rate, there are 2 methods. First one is the trial and error method, in which we have to apply different rate, and after that, with the help of interpolation, we have to finalize one rate. And another method to calculate internal rate of return is this method. Here, IRR is equal to L plus A into H minus L divided by A minus B. So L is equal to lower rate of return, H is equal to higher rate of return, A is equal to NPV at lower rate, and B is equal to NPV at higher rate. So, whenever we have to use this formula, what we have to do? Simply, we have to calculate 2 types of NPV. First one should be positive and second one should be negative. So we have to choose, we have to calculate NPV. Now, if rate of return given in the question is 10%. Now you are thinking, sir, if rate of return or rate of discounting is given in the question is 10%, then how can we calculate 2 types of NPV? as I have discussed earlier, it is a trial and error approach. It means we have to find out this rate, and whenever we have to find out this rate, we have to apply different rate. Now, one rate of discounting is given in the question for your reference only, and normally you can calculate positive NPV by applying this rate. Whenever you have to calculate negative NPV, you have to try different rates. You have to try different rates. Now, after trying different rates, for example, rate of 10% is given the question, and you are calculating NPV. It is a positive NPV. Now, you apply 12% rate. Again, NPV becomes positive. Again, you are applying 16% rate. Again, NPV is positive. Now you are applying 18% rate. Again, NPV is positive. Now you are applying 20% rate. Now NPV is negative. So NPV at higher rate means NPV at 10%. And lower rate of return means if I am using 10% rate, it is a lower rate of return. As is equal to higher rate of return. When I am applying 20% rate of return, it is a higher rate of return. So 10%, so you can say normally if we see any practical problem or any numerical problem, no. So normally lower rate of return gives you positive NPV and negative rate of return. Higher rate of return gives you negative NPV. So L is equal to lower rate of return, it means 10%. H is equal to higher rate of return, it means it's a 20%. If I am asking about this particular illustration about which I am talking. Next is A. A is equal to NPV at lower rate, B is equal to NPV at higher rate. So let's NPV at 10% is 5,000. NPV at 20% is minus 3,000. So A is equal to 5,000, B is equal to minus 3,000. Now you have all four figures. After that, you have to apply the formula, which I have written on the slide. L is equal to IR equal to L. L means lower rate. So lower rate is equal to 10% plus A. A is equal to NPV at lower rate. It was 5,000. So 10% plus 5,000 into H minus L. Higher rate H and lower rate. So difference between higher rate and lower rate, it will be 20 minus 10 will be 10. Again I am repeating. IR is equal to L. L means 10% plus A. A is equal to 5,000 into H minus N into 10 because 20 minus 10 is equal to 10. So 5,000 into 10, 50,000 divided by A minus B. NPV at lower rate minus NPV at higher rate. It will be 5,000 minus 3,000. It will be 5,000 plus 3,000, 8,000. So you can say 10% plus 50,000 divided by 8,000. So it will be 10% plus 50,000 divided by 8,000. So you can say it will be 10% plus 6.25%. 10% plus 6.25%, and it will be 16.25%. So IRR of the project will be 16.25% if I use this imaginary figure which I have discussed in the particular illustration with all of you. Now, let's start some practical questions. This is a question. Capital budgeting numericals. Consider the following investment opportunity. A machine is available for purchase at a cost of rupees 80,000. Is expected to have a life of 5 years and to have a scrap value of rupees 10,000. At the end of the 5 years. So simply, you have to purchase a machinery. The cost of machinery is 50,000 and scrap value of machinery is rupees 10,000. Now, what is the meaning of scrap value? If you are purchasing machinery, cost of machinery will be 50,000. Scrap value of rupees 10,000 means after 5 years, because the life of the machinery is 5 years. It means after 5 years, machinery will obsolete. It means it will no use for the organization. So you have to replace this machine. Now, amount of scrap value is 10,000. It means after completion of 5 years, machine has no use. But if you want to sell it, because it has converted into scrap, if you want to sell it, machinery will give you the cash inflow of this 10,000. So I think it's very much clear. Organization want to purchase a machinery of rupees 50,000. It will be obsolete in 5 years. After completion of 5 years, when you want to sell it, the machinery will be able to generate cash inflow of this 10,000 for your organization. So simply you are selling the machinery and you are getting rupees 10,000. This estimated that it will generate additional profit over its life as follows. Rupees 30,000 in first year, rupees 40,000 in second year, rupees 30,000 in third year, rupees 25,000 in fourth year, and rupees 25,000 in fifth year. So this is the amount of profit. These estimates of profit are before depreciation. You are required to calculate the accounting rate of returns. So whenever you have to calculate accounting rate of return, simply you need two figures: average profit and average investment. Profit of first year, profit of second year, profit of third year, profit of fourth year, and profit of fifth year. If we sum up all the profits and if we divide by 5, the amount which we get is called average profit. So, what will the amount of average profit? 30 plus 40, 70 plus 30, 1 lakh plus 25 plus 25. It will be 1,50,000. If we divide by 5, then average profit will be 30,000. Simply what I do, I sum up all profits of 5. It is 30 plus 40 plus 30 plus 25 plus 25. It is 1,50,000. If we divide by 5, it is 1,50,000 by 5 will be 30,000 rupees. Average profit is equal to 30,000. Now, Let's discuss about the average investment. Average investment means cost minus scrap value divided by 2 plus scrap value. This is the formula. Again, I am repeating: cost minus scrap value divided by 2 plus scrap value. That is also called salvage value. So cost means it is very much clear in the question that organization purchasing the machinery has to be 50,000. The cost will be 50,000. And scrap value very much clear in the question that machinery will generate additional cash flow of rupees 10,000 as a scrap value. So cost 50,000 minus scrap value. 50,000 minus 10,000 will be 40,000. Divide by 2. It will be 20,000. Again, I am repeating: cost minus scrap value by 2. Cost 50,000 minus scrap value 10,000 divided by 2. It is 20,000. Plus scrap value. Average investment. In Formula 1, we add scrap value. And in Formula 2, we don't add scrap value. So now it's depend on you what formula you want to use. Both are accepted. Again, I am repeating: wherever you have to calculate average investment, there are two formulas which we may use. Formula number 1: cost minus scrap value by 2 plus scrap value. Formula number 1. And formula number 2: cost minus scrap value by 2. There is no need to add scrap value. So this is formula number 2. I am using formula number 1. If I am using formula number 1, this is cost minus scrap value by 2 plus scrap value. So cost 50,000 minus 10,000 divided by 2, it means 40,000 divided by 2 is equal to 20,000 plus the scrap value 10,000. So you can say 20,000 plus 10,000 will be 30,000. So average investment is 30,000 and average profit which I have calculated by sum of all these values and by divided by 5. It was again 30,000. So ARR is equal to 30,000 divided by 30,000 into 100. So you can say accounting rate of return is 100%. So of the rate of return which is generated by the property is around 100%. So this is the calculation of first numerical problem. Let's discuss another numerical problem. A company is considering an investment proposal to install a new mining method. The project will cost rupees 50,000. The facility has a life expectancy of 5 years and no salvage value. So first thing, company is purchasing a new machinery. The cost of the machinery will be 50,000 and the life is 5 years. No salvage value. It means after completion of the life, if you want to sell the machinery will no generating any type of the cash flow without cash. The form uses straight line depreciation. The estimated profit before tax from the proposed investment proposal are as follows. So this is the profit average rate of return, you have to calculate average rate of return, and you have to calculate payback period. If you have to calculate average rate of return, simply you have to calculate average profit, and again you have to calculate average investment. If you have to calculate average profit, you have to add all profits. Estimated profit before tax is given, so you have to calculate profit after tax. You have to remember that when you have to calculate average rate of return, it is calculated on the basis of profit after tax. So first of all, you have to convert all these figures into profit after tax. It's day one of practical problem. So I want to first of all create a background that what are the problem or what the problem is saying. I'm more focused on the problem, what problem is saying. To do these problems, from next lecture, we will use whiteboard. So, for today's session, I am discussing only the problem. To solve these problems, we require whiteboard, and from next lecture we will use whiteboard. So I think actually for today's lecture I want to start, or you can say the mode in which I want to enter, and I expect that you are also enter. Should be start, and you will be very much assured, and you should be reading from next session that we have to do practical problem. So when I will start next lecture, I expect all of you will have mobile or a calculator to calculate the numerical problems, so that it may be clear to all of you. So when we will write down the problem, you have to write them on the same time. For today, it's over. Thank you to all of you.